Alright, so I created a list super early on, back in December, about 15 heroes that needed to be added into Marvel Rivals. My numbers 12, 13, 14, and 15 on my list were in fact the Fantastic Four, all of which I think were a fantastic add. Just kind of see what I did there?
Bruh.
Alright, anyway, so remaining people from my original list that I made are Colossus, Thanos, Gambit, Jean Grey, Jubilee, Dazzler, Gamora, Ant-Man, Iceman, Beast, and Deadpool. Also, before I get started, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's free and helps me out, and rarely do I ever ask. Also, I've got some gameplay going on in the background, so feel free to ignore it or enjoy, laugh at me, whatever. All's good. Alright, so now I know there's been leaks out there, pictures that have come out online about some of these heroes that might be coming next into Marvel Rivals. Cool, but actually, until I see them physically in the game, I'm going to take all of that with a grain of salt. They may never release that person. People can release fake leaks. Those things happen. Now they could be a real leak and found in game files, but sometimes those things never get released for whatever the reason that the devs may decide against it. Whatever. I've seen that happen in other games. I'm gonna assume the same thing might happen in Marvel Rivals at some point. So until they're released, I'm gonna assume it's all fake. All right. So that being said, even if there are people who you've seen leaks that are confirmed to be coming, again, assuming wrong, this is what I'm going with. All right, so some of these I have seen as like those fake leaks. We're moving on. All right, number one, Cyclops. I've seen this leaked, like I said, along with Professor X, which seems bonkers. Like, wouldn't people feel really bad about attacking someone in a wheelchair? Anyway, Cyclops could easily fit in as like a backline DPS in my eyes, like a Hawkeye or a Black Widow. Shooting lasers a mile seems like something very obvious. However, I don't think that would happen. I'd suspect devs to kind of shorten his beam, make him more like kind of like a mid-range Winter Soldier type. Team abilities or team up abilities with other X-Men makes sense, especially with the likes of Wolverine, Professor X, Jean Grey that may come, etc. All right, number two, Doctor Doom. Now, I am assuming he is coming just because the way this whole Marvel Rivals thing started with it kind of being like a Doctor Doom storyline that's kind of started everything. So I think having more villains in the game also would be insanely fun. He could be a Vanguard or a DPS, but I'm going to straight up assume he's going to be a Vanguard. High-tech weapons, powered armor gives him super strength and fighting ability, whatever. So, but I could honestly see him going either way. I'm just gonna call it now Vanguard. Number three, Nightcrawler. I've heard this one leaked as well, but again, who knows until it's actually dropped. I am assuming that he's going to be kind of like an in-your-face, able to get in and out combat character like a Spider-Man. Teleporting would be straight up kind of badass, but I'm really not sure how that's going to work. Would he need to kind of set points like a Loki clone does? Or does he need to have maybe line of sight of where he's going to go? Can he just go kind of like short distances, like through like a wall of a building? I don't know how that's going to work or what that's going to break in the game. Is he going to teleport inside of a wall, get places where he's not supposed to go? I'm expecting this to be totally broken when he comes out, if he comes out. But either way, I don't know. It does sound awesome. I'd love to give that a try, but as a strategist main, I'm sure I'm going to hate him because it just adds more people trying to kill me in the back. Number four, Rogue. Rogue, again, is probably one of these people that could go a lot of different ways. She's insanely strong. She has, so that kind of instantly gives her like the Vanguard potential. But she can also fly, which could easily make her a flying DPS character as well. But she doesn't really have like that ability to shoot things like an Iron Man, or Storm for that example. So I think where she might be best is honestly like a flying strategist, which we don't have. That does give her some type of escapability, like a handful of others have. Also gives her a pretty good like base team ups with people like maybe Gambit if he comes, Colossus, Storm, etc. I just feel like she could be super badass. I would love that as a big Gambit fan growing up as a kid. Honestly, I think having Rogue as kind of like that love interest or whatever, I was always a fan of Rogue too, so I would love it. Number five, Nick Fury. So, because of him kind of being a leader, I could very easily picture him being a strategist or a distance DPS like a Black Widow or a Hawkeye. But fitting in with a strategist as a leader like Fury would make sense to me. Instead of like spam healing like a Luna or a Sue can, he can do station healing where he can maybe like throw down like healing or respawn locations. But I'd say giving him like a sniper rifle or pistols or maybe even both to be a stronger DPS style strategist like a Mantis would be pretty freaking cool. Let him lean into the strategist side of things. Team up with Captain America's, Iron Man's, obviously could, make the most sense. Number 6, Drax. I'd imagine he would easily be a brawl DPS like Wolverine. He's almost the exact same in this case. Maybe instead of like a diving like Wolverine, maybe give him the ability to throw his knives from a distance that would inflict bigger damage or have some knockback ability to it. That way he isn't just kind of a copy and paste of Wolverine that's just straight up diving and knocking them back, but maybe like a smaller knockback with his knives. It's just something I had in my head. Anyway, team ups, Guardians, obviously. Number 7, Daredevil. This seems like a really obvious one that needs to be brought in. Would be a DPS hero, of course. An ability on cooldown where he can basically have like a radar or a sense where maybe the enemies are. Obviously, very athletic, martial arts, uses a billy club, so it'd be more of like a low damage but in your face type of a person. Clearly going to be like a flanking Black Panther, like almost like copy and paste of that. Instant team ups, Black Widow or Punisher, like would make sense. Also, there's huge a possibility of like having a season like the Fantastic Four season, where you have a season where he's brought in with maybe like Elektra and Kingpin. Speaking of which, number 8, Kingpin. Bring on the big boy villains, right? Could go one of two ways, but I would expect the first being a Vanguard. Big, strong, massive dude, maybe wearing Kevlar, where he not only has a ton of health, but he also takes less damage from hits. So possibly like the hardest to actually bring down. Brawling Hulk or Thing type of Vanguard could like just use a cane or just his fists. But another option, which is very unlikely because of him being like a criminal mastermind, he could be maybe a strategist and, again, leaning into the strategist side of things rather than like the healer side of things and have options of like a sabotage. I don't know. But again, more just leaning on the strategist side rather than that healer. It does take gun style or does take down gun style weapons, Punisher turrets. I'm just thinking of like the whole sabotage thing where, yeah, if somebody's using like an ult like a Punisher or a Punisher turret or something like that, a rocket ultimate or his beacons, Iron Man suit maybe where he drops like an EMP. So I don't know. Just some type of like unique, interesting thing that's more on the strategy side rather than healer. That's all I'm thinking. I don't think that type of stuff is going to happen. I would lean more to him just kind of being like a brawling Vanguard. Number 9, Omega Red. Now, Marvel Rivals has shown like a very good willingness to go with some not so crazy popular or well-known characters, which I freaking love because it kind of opens up things, brings in new styles, and like Squirrel Girl, great example. Luna Snow, great example. Like they're insanely popular characters, but they're not very popular in the comics, right? So I love that. Omega Red brings in yet another villain, which I'm all for. I think we need more villains in Marvel Rivals. One of the Wolverine's nemesis is a super soldier similar to Captain America. He has the durability and speed, but also has retractable tentacles that come out. If you're not familiar with Omega Red, again, I grew up reading X-Men comics, so pretty familiar to me. So you could make him a Vanguard pretty easily and be like kind of a mix between Cap and Venom with those tentacles, or he could be kind of a similar like Wolverine type, but maybe like a little bit faster. I don't know. So yeah, just unique options. Number 10, Angel. Bringing in OG X-Men is always a plus for fans. Could be another option as that flying strategist where he can throw down feathers from high up that can heal or do damage. Obviously, he has that natural built-in escape option where he can fly or dive bomb people. And I'm thinking like an ult where he spins and shoots feathers everywhere that heals teammates kind of maybe no matter where they are. Maybe less health than what like a Luna or a Mantis would be, where it's just kind of in that circle, or like an Invisible Woman circle. I could just see this maybe covering like the entire map, healing teammates wherever they are, but just less health. So very widespread. certain range to it maybe just to balance that, but who knows. There is a possibility he could also be a DPS, which would also make a lot of sense for him. Just change those abilities to do more damage instead of healing. Pretty simple. And but I'll also talk about a unique team up with my next suggestion, which would be number 11, Apocalypse. So let's start off right off the bat. The team up with Angel, which would turn him into maybe Archangel, turns his feathers maybe into missiles that inflict slightly more damage for a short period of time. I don't know. Maybe even gives slightly more health to now Archangel. But Apocalypse would make sense as a Vanguard. Obviously, I don't think he would really fit anywhere else. He's massive, has tons of abilities, can create force shields, can morph to much larger sizes, energy manipulation, telepathy. Dude is insanely strong, so making like a Magneto type in the front would make a lot of sense. Maybe just give him like a smaller shield so it still makes Magneto playable. And I mean, I think like a smashing style ult, like a Thang or Hulk would make sense. Maybe even like stretching. I know he does kind of have that ability of like morphing himself to be almost like a Fantastic or like a Groot. So he could do slightly more distance than what that. I mean, maybe that would make more sense for him. But again, there's just certain people who would need to come in kind of pre-nerfed, like Thanos. If he does come in, he's gonna have to be pre-nerfed. There's no way you can just have him coming in, in-game Thanos, right? All right, finally, number 12, Mystique. Honestly, I don't think she was ever really thought about in my first video, but something unique she could do is some type of stealth hero swap as a flanking DPS. Imagine being able to like change into another hero, similar to like Loki would, but it blends in with the other team maybe. I don't know, like maybe that's overpowered. I don't know, but it's just something I would have in my mind where she's just straight up blending in with a team. It might be overpowered, I don't know, but it gives like a very unique, cool stealth option. I'm not sure what if again, I just think that would be unique. I'm not sure if it would work or pan out, or that just seems insane. But it blends in with her ability of being able to sneak around to the back line and pretend to be somebody else. All right, so that is it for now. Who do you want to see added into Marvel Rivals, and are you as addicted to Marvel Rivals as I am? I was just talking about this last night with my buddy Matt. I am straight up addicted. I have barely touched anything else. This has been awesome. I love Marvel Rivals. I'm ready for more characters. All right, thanks for watching. Later.